How would you characterize PHP's current state?
Current state, yes. So over the last couple of years, PHP has matured a lot. We see a lot of professionalization and maturing, not only with PHP as a language and as a runtime, and also with the people that work on PHP. All of us, or most of us, started working on this over 10 years ago, so we grew up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be bad if we hadn't matured since then.
Sure.
And that reflects in the language, right?
Right.
Also, our users, people that are using PHP, a lot has happened in the last couple of years with regard to standardization on frameworks, with standardization on development processes. You see a lot more people talking about, doing Scrum, you're doing Kanban and whatever. And if you look at PHP conferences, topics changed a bit from pure technical topics to also these kind of topics. And over the last couple of years, we also saw a rise in development tools, like PHP Unit for unit testing, which I started over 10 years ago now, and static analysis tools. PHP has been lacking a bit in its early years compared to other languages in that regard. But now we are in a really good state where we can actually give developers good tools in their hands that they can use to assess the state of the software that they're working on and get information to act on and improve the software they're building.
So it's healthy and mature at this point.
It's healthy and mature. I'm really happy in a way that the hype is over, that it's not cool anymore to do PHP. Now we have other things that are cool, and there are types of developers that really like to always go for the sexy, cool stuff and try out different things. That's great. It's good that PHP now really has arrived in a mature and healthy state, and you do not really have to fight to get PHP accepted in an enterprise setting, whatever that may mean.
Speaking of enterprise, what are the most important companies or services in the PHP landscape right now? And I know Facebook's a big player, but are there leaders there?
That's really, really hard to answer. So in my company, we do consulting around PHP around the world. We have customers that are really, really small, young startups. We have customers that are really, really large, such as Facebook, like you mentioned, or eBay, which, as of recently, just a couple of weeks ago, has now a really big stake in PHP to some degree. They bought one of the most successful PHP open source companies over the last couple of years, Magento, and are pushing forward in that regard, want to push the development of Magento, for instance. A couple of years ago, Yahoo, for instance, was a really big one. Yahoo, Flickr, Dig, Etsy, and now Facebook, and all of them are still doing PHP. But at the size of these really big companies, it's not just any one language or platform. You choose for each component of your system architecture what the best fit is. And PHP still plays a really big role there, although some other newer technologies are used alongside and complement PHP.
Right. What is your take on Node?
What's my take on Node? I haven't had the time yet to play with it myself.
Yeah.
But it's, on the one hand, it's just another language, just another platform. And like I mentioned earlier, there are developers that really are always eager to follow a new trend.
Yes, that was a bit of a loaded question. Yeah, that was definitely into that.
It shows a lot of promise, but like with any other platform, it's not really the platform itself or the language itself that matters. It's finding developers and architects that can build something that is really of value to the company. And I remember last year or the year before that at OSCON, there was a big theme going on with Erlang and other functional programming languages.
Right.
And yes, these technologies are really good, and you can build really good systems on top of it, but it's really, really hard to find good developers for that. Whereas you can find good PHP developers, good Java developers much easier. Now, the thing is a bit different with Node because, yes, it's a new platform, it has a new architecture, but it builds on an existing language in JavaScript. Mm-hmm. So it's probably going to be interesting to see whether companies where Node would be a good fit to solve their problems actually can find JavaScript developers that are not only qualified to build front-end JavaScript things, but also back-end things on top of Node. But it's a really interesting thing, and I'm looking forward to, hopefully, when I find the time to play with it and figure out stuff. Until I had my hands on a technology like that, it's really, really hard to gauge for me what kind of benefit I can have.
So last question for you. How do you see the LAMP stack evolving over the next 5 years or so?
I think we were going to see a lot of what we've been seeing over the last couple of years already. So it's, on the one hand, components of the LAMP stack are changing. So the M does not necessarily stand for just MySQL anymore. It's now either MariaDB, which is just another flavor of MySQL, or Memcache in a lot of cases, or other NoSQL storage types that are used either as a replacement or in addition to a traditional database backend. The A is not, well, A usually stood or still stands for Apache, but we see more and more customers going away from Apache and using stuff like LightDBD or Nginx as an alternative web server, whatever makes the most technical sense in their setup. So on the one hand, we are going to see more of this component changing, but on the other hand, we'll see a lot more maturization and standardization within those components, such as PHP, which is getting more mature, but still adding new features. So by the end of this year, there will be a new major version of PHP that's, again, faster than the previous versions, but also has new language features.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.